The taste of diet green tea. Nothing like citrus and aspartame.
It's like a little bit of lemon zest on some sweaty balls.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the 5-Star Jobbers Podcast. I'm Cody.
And I am a heel rock fan.
I don't know anybody
more than a face rock fan.
Yeah, I don't know of anybody that is more of a face rock fan than a heel rock fan, but heel rock is where it's at.
Heel rock brings me back to my childhood. On SmackDown, when he called the crowd white trash, trailer park trash, I was like, it feels so warm and comfortable and familiar.
Exactly.
Like, that's how I like my rock. You know, I don't like a pandering rock. I don't like a presidential candidate rock. I like the rock that wears $500 t-shirts. You know, the jabroni beating, pie eating,
trailblazing, eyebrow raising, heart stopping, elbow dropping, electrifying the dirty South. So know your role
and shut your mouth. I'm so proud of you for knowing that.
Hey, I know my rock history. I know my 90s wrestling.
Look at this little ruthless aggression era kid getting one up on me. That's awesome. And credit due where credit's due.
But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching our podcast, and thank you so much for listening as well. If you haven't already, go and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and also we're on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out yet, go look at our most recent content from our live commentary episode at DCCW this past weekend.
This guy gets hit by a chair, and it's great. So go watch it.
Yeah. Big thank you to DCCW for allowing us to be able to do that, and was not expecting that to happen so soon. Someone pulled out a surprise on me. But anyways, thank you to DCCW for allowing us to be there. But we want to let you guys know of some upcoming events. If you're in the Southeast area, go check these places out. February 25th, Wrestle South is going to be in Albany, Georgia at 3 p.m. Go check it out there, February 25th. Also, a couple events going on March 2nd. NWA Hard Times is going to be in Dothan, Alabama at the Dothan Civic Center at 7. You definitely want to check that out. For more information, you can go to our page. Also, check out Justin Overstreet's page for tickets and information. Also happening March 2nd, The Guardian's Legacy presents Victory at 7 p.m. at Rosenwald High School Gym. Go check that out as well. Great show. March 16th, Rose City Pro Wrestling happening at the Salvation Army in Thomasville, Georgia at 7 p.m. March 16th. Go check that out as well. A couple other events happening March 30th. You've got Southern Wrestling Traditions event happening at Possum Place in Wausau, Florida.
Wausau!
I knew he was going to do it. I prepared him for it. 7 p.m. in Wausau, Florida. Southern Wrestling Tradition, March 30th. Check that out. Also happening March 30th, Kraken Pro Wrestling in Tifton, Georgia at the Tiff Theater. Go check it out.
Release the Kraken!
And I wasn't expecting that one, so I'll prepare for it next time.
Did I surprise you with my Kraken?
Just a little bit.
Surprising at this point.
Anyways, March 30th, Kraken Pro Wrestling. Go check it out. If you want to become a volunteer or know more about the event, reach out to them at Kraken Pro Wrestling 2024 at gmail.com. It's going to be a great event. A brand new promotion coming up in Tifton, Georgia. Don't miss it. Also, a little bit later, but we want to make mention of it as well, April 20th, DCCW's next event called Unbroken in McClenny, Florida at the Baker County Fairgrounds. Go check it out. And if you're a promoter and you want your event to be featured or you want your event to be recognized here on the podcast, reach out to us. We want to get your name out there. We want to get your promotion out there. Reach out to us at 5-Star Jobbers or reach out to us on social media, either one. But we want to switch gears here because we've got a special guest here on the podcast. We are so excited to have him here. Please welcome Mr. Personality himself, Kelly Klark. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank y'all for having me. It's great. I've been looking forward to this, and I'm excited to hear what all the questions y'all got for me.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. So, first thing I want to just ask you, how long have you been in professional wrestling? Like, just tell the people about yourself a little bit.
So, I started wrestling when I was 15 in Alabama, and I've been in it for about a little over 3 years now. So, I was the youngest licensed wrestler in Alabama. Let's see. My trainer is Cowboy Buddy Love, but right now I'm training at the Kangaroo Ranch. I train there about 2-3 times a week. So I'm kind of still new to the business, but I'm definitely growing and learning each and every day.
Awesome, man. What part of Alabama, may I ask?
It was in the Dothan area, so the Wiregrass area.
Oh, okay. I got you.
He's from L.A.
Got you. Yeah, Lower Alabama.
That's right.
Right.
For those of you that don't know.
Well, he has that L.A. hair.
Well, no, I'm from Cottondale, Florida, but I just trained in Alabama.
Gotcha.
Okay, I see.
Well, obviously, so at 15, you're breaking into the business, so you had to have been a wrestling fan for a while before then, right? So how long you?
Oh
been?
yeah, I've been a fan since I was about 5 years old.
Awesome. So you've been a fan pretty much your whole life. What got you into wrestling? Can you give us a story of maybe your first vivid wrestling memory, and kind of what gave you the bug, and you caught the like the rest of us, the itch.
Right. So it's kind of funny because I'm a big old school fan of wrestling, and a lot of my family are a lot older than me. So the very first ever match I watch is really surprising to people. But it was Ric Flair versus Ricky Dragon Steamboat, the Cheetown Rumble. That's the very first memory I have of wrestling. So that was I watched. I was like, oh, this is awesome. They're beating the crap out of each other, and it looks fun. I want to do this. Yeah. And then I started going to local shows in the area. So I started going to XWX, and I watched guys like Cali Man and guys like that. So that was my local heroes.
That's awesome, man. So I kind of want to get an idea of where you came up with the moniker Mr. Personality, because everybody knows you as Mr. Personality, Kelly Clark. So where did that name originate?
So when I first started, I was called the Flamboyant Kid Cyclone. And as I started breaking away from the Alabama area, I was like, I want to come up with something different. And I came up with Kelly Clark. And then I was like, I got to add something to it because Kelly Clark is just too bland. And Cali Man's always been my favorite wrestler. So I was like, I know the history of Cali. And he was called Mr. Personality when he first started. And I was like, I'm just going to steal that. So Mr. Personality, Kelly Clark was born.
That's awesome, man. So, and we always like to ask this with our guests, but do you want to ask him one more question, or do you want to go ahead and get into the Mount Rushmore?
Let me get one more. So if you could tell us about Mr. Personality. So obviously we've got a little bit of the origin, but who is Mr. Personality? When you go out there, what is Mr. Personality? Is he an everyman? Is he a cocky man? Is he he's a friend? What is it? Personality. I've got a lot of personality, and people call me all kinds of names I can't repeat on live podcasting.
Yeah, we're still trying to keep it PG here.
Yeah.
John.
So, but who is Mr. Personality?
So the way I describe Mr. Personality is just a guy having fun, but I feel like I'm very Bugs Bunny and Three Stooges like. And so I try to have more fun in the ring than most people would, kind of like a comedic style. Because to me, it's fun being serious, but I feel like if wrestling don't have a little bit of everything, then it ain't a show of what it's supposed to be.
Totally
so I
agree.
try to be different than everybody else if I can be.
Absolutely.
No, that's
definitely.
fantastic.
So I actually thought of another question on there. So as far as in-ring style, who are some of your inspirations for your moveset or your in-ring performance?
So it's definitely Dusty Rhodes, Kurt Hennig, Buddy Rose. I love Buddy Rose. That's one of my favorites. Ric Flair. Let's see, Cali Man. I definitely love me some Buddy Rogers, Gorgeous George. So there's a bunch of them. More flamboyant characters, Shawn Michaels. Those are definitely the tops.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you might be a future Nature Boy with a list like that. Very
Definitely.
much. I mean, I think there were 2 Nature Boys on that list.
Yeah, definitely. And so I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. So we like to do this with every guest that we have on the podcast, and it's always interesting to hear everybody's different ideas of who their Mount Rushmore is. But I want to ask you, who would you consider to be your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
So when I do a Mount Rushmore, I try to keep it of factual, guys that kind of carried the business. And I try to keep my personal feelings out of it. So can I do 2 of them? One of my personal feelings and one of factual?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, do it however you see fit.
Okay, so definitely factual. I feel like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. It's hard because I want to say The Rock and Stone Cold, but then like there's John Cena in there and now Roman Reigns. But I think I'm gonna go with Ric Flair, The Rock, Stone Cold, and Hulk Hogan. Those are definitely the top 4 on that.
Okay,
I feel like in the factual way.
I got you.
Yeah, factual way. Those guys are draws. Hulk Hogan,
yeah, and then
kills the business though.
Yo, yeah, Hulk Hogan for sure.
You're talking to somebody here that, let's just say, has a very profound opinion on Hulk Hogan that I guess a lot of people would have, but
I mean, if you watched '97 Sold Out like I did, you wouldn't like Hulk Hogan either.
But anyway, like I said, we love just hearing different opinions and different ideas for everybody's Mount Rushmore, and we always say everybody's is different.
Everybody's is different, and let's say you can't argue the Hulk Hogan fact of the matter. At the end of the day, the guy moved the business forward. He sold tickets. You know what I say, and just like I think you're going to say, like I said, you're talking about a factual one versus a personal one. So I think we're speaking the same language, anyways. Do I like him? No, I don't like him. Do I think that he was good for the business? In some aspects, yes. In some aspects, absolutely not. But yeah, at the end of the day, you're never going to separate Hulk Hogan from the business. But, you know, if I had to say, put a gun in my head between Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, before you even calc it back, I say Ric Flair.
Right, exactly.
Ric Flair's he's goated
most
for.
definitely same here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast.
We gotta get his second one.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah, he's gonna get his.
The first.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Man, you were coming on with the hook quick.
Oh no, you're good. So I feel like definitely my opinion wise, if like I had to choose my guys, like, oh, you ain't gonna argue with me, it's definitely Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Kurt Hennig, and I would say that's a tough one. Dusty Rhodes all day.
Okay, yeah,
it's them four. Those are probably the top 4 for me.
I think you want him. I think you want him over with Shawn Michaels there.
Well, Shawn, Kurt. Rick and Dusty.
I'm not gonna knock it for sure. Yeah, Dusty Rhodes, Shawn.
I think his and mine are almost identical.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, because I had Shawn, Hunter, Rick, and Dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's always interesting to hear people's opinions on who their Mount Rushmore is, because there's a million different ways you can go with it. Whether it's like best technical wrestlers, best entertainers.
Yeah. For me, it's always the pioneer and the catalyst of the business.
Yeah.
And so, like, you look at Shawn and Hunter, and between the two of them, with everything in the click that came from the click, and then now what they're doing. And then with Rick and Dusty, I mean, Rick and Dusty were the last bastions of the NWA.
Absolutely.
And they say they've put more wrestlers over, than steroids.
And that's a whole another topic we could talk about. But again, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast. Where can people find you? Like, have you got any upcoming events, or where can people find you on social media as well?
So y'all can find me at the next upcoming event I got is February 24th at GCW in Mississippi. So that's the Gulf Coast Wrestling. And all my other shows coming up, you can follow me on my social media. My Instagram is KellyClark_. TikTok is KK_DOOD. And my Facebook is Mr. Personality. You can follow those for all the upcoming shows, highlights, and much more of Mr. Personality.
Fantastic.
Man, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast, and we look forward to seeing you in action again very soon.
Oh, yeah. Thank y'all.
All right, John, you ready for some reviews?
After 2 weeks, yes, I am.
Yeah, we've got a lot to go over. So, like I said before, and if you didn't see our social media on our Facebook page, I did send out a video to everybody letting you know that we weren't going to have an episode for last week because we were both under the weather. I didn't have a voice, and he didn't have anything left in his stomach. So, yeah. But we're back, and we're going to get to a lot of things. We've got a lot to talk about. So, hope you guys are ready. Buckle your seatbelts. Let's get into this thing. So, I think the best place to start is just from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So let's just start with the press conference. So,
before the press conference. Before the press conference. So, since the last time we talked to you guys, I mean, obviously, we had the response to The Rock coming out at SmackDown and basically looking at Cody, shaking his hand. Cody leaves the ring. The Rock looks at Roman, and it's very much posed at that point that it's going to be The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, and that Cody is not going to fight The Rock Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and he's not going to finish the story at WrestleMania. And over the weekend, the "We Want Cody" movement goes bonkers. I mean, number one trend in Twitter, worldwide.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure of the metrics, but I think it might have had more traction than the Yes movement.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
Which
I mean,
crazy.
it was a huge response, and then you have The Rock go on after Monday Night Raw. After our last episode, you have The Rock go on, and he's talking about the Cody crybabies and coming off kind of like a heel.
Yeah.
And then we get to the press conference.
Yeah, and so that's where pandemonium breaks out, and then it's a total shift in how we thought that everything was going to go at WrestleMania. And so you have Roman Reigns come out and say that he wants to challenge The Rock, and then you have this whole interaction where they put the family tree up there.
And
you noticed this before I did.
I noticed this very early, but obviously we're delayed in our getting this episode out, so it looks like secondhand. But he zoomed in on the family tree where it says Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It says Tribal Chief.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's going to play into.
That's a hot thing. I mean, like, they put it out there in the modern era, knowing how much everything's scrutinized. So that's not just something that they put out there that they're not going to follow up on.
Oh, of course not.
And I mean, from the press conference, is there any question who the tribal chief is at this point?
Absolutely not.
No, I mean, I gotta say though, Roman, the promo exchange between Roman and Cody at the press conference, that was some of the best.
It was amazing.
I mean, that was
Absolutely
some of the
amazing.
best work that Roman's ever done on the mic.
Well, the thing I liked about it is that, I mean, it's live. So, I mean, you couldn't censor anything there. So, all the interchange and all the words that were exchanged between the two, like, it was, I'm sure it was scripted to a T, but at the same time, like, it was uncut, like, live, in person. I was just at a loss for words.
Well, I just said that, like, he came at him hard, and it's like Roman, in the last few promos, I mean, he normally he focuses on being the tribal chief and dressing down people, blah blah blah, but the no pop cut on Seth Rollins, and then the cut to Cody and about him and his dad, like, he's full bore going at it. But what's interesting is, like, as vicious as he's being, you can't help but notice that he is playing sidekick to The Rock. The Rock The Rock has become the tribal chief, and Roman Reigns might be the longest reigning champion of the modern era, and I mean, he may or may not exceed Hulk Hogan's record. We don't know. We'll find out. But at this point, he's not the tribal chief. The Rock is the tribal chief. And when Rock slapped Cody, and then in the backstage segment when he talks to Hunter, I mean, he's in charge.
Absolutely.
And I love what they're doing. They're painting within the lines of reality. The Rock is a corporate board member for TKO now. And it's very interesting. It's like, Rock comes out in January and talks about possibly fighting Roman and, taking him on as the tribal chief or the head of the table.
Right.
And you got mixed reactions in January. And then they announced that The Rock, in the midst of other stuff going on, they announced The Rock becoming a board member of TKO. And then he comes and talks like, I'm going to take you on, Roman, and you don't get a mixed reaction at all. You get, we want Cody, we don't want The Rock.
Right.
They're booing The Rock. They're saying Rocky sucks for the first time in 27, 28 years. And the pivot's beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
Whether it's
absolutely.
a work or a shoot, we don't know.
It
work,
feels like a work to me.
I mean, I think it's a beautiful work, and I think, when you think about some of the people that are behind closed doors on this right now, like you've got Triple H, you've got The Rock, who's probably working on this because he's not going to be involved in something like this that he's not going to protect his character with. He's got a lot of money in his branding and who his character is. He's not going to let other people write his script.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And you've got with The Rock comes Brian Gewirtz, in my opinion, the greatest professional wrestling writer of all time.
Yeah.
So how much involvement he has in it, I have no idea. But what I can tell you is they turn dog crap into diamonds in just basically less than a week.
Yeah.
And
like so much happened in that week, and it's all starting to just create a great story. And honestly, it has me kind of confused a little bit. It has me I genuinely don't know what's going to happen right now, which I love, but I hate at the same time, because us trying to figure out everything and give you guys content behind the scenes and everything, it's good. But at the same time, it's not good. No, it's good to be a professional wrestling fan at the moment.
I love it because it's something new.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like if you've been watching the product for long enough, sometimes you see things, and when I first saw this unfold, I'm like, oh look, they're recreating the Yes movement. But after this last week, it's not quite the Yes movement.
No,
it went from being the Yes movement and it looked like, okay, well, The Rock is like the authority.
Yeah, exactly.
To now it's more like, are we going to get Cody and Seth versus Rock and Roman on night 1? And then get Cody and Roman on night 2? I don't know. Does that story sit well? I thought maybe they might do Roman and Rock versus Seth and Cody at Elimination Chamber, but I was listening to the Not Sam podcast, and he made a very good point of The Rock's not going to come back for the first time in 3, 4, 5 years, however many years it's been since he's had a match. He's not going to come back and be on a pay-per-view that in America is going to get shown at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly, yeah.
Which
I don't know if y'all are going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and watch it. I know I'm not. I'm going to be enjoying my sleep.
Yeah, I'll be DVRing that one, and I'll watch it at a more reasonable time for someone of my age.
Exactly. Well, I'm not too far from there. I mean,
a lot happens in a little bit of time. I'm just going to tell you that. You think of me like your 6-year time machine.
That's a scary thought.
It should terrify you.
Oh, I'm definitely terrified.
But yeah, no. So I mean, but at the end of the day, regardless of where the story might go, regardless of what it was supposed to be or any of that hoopla, the most important thing to remember is that we have heel Rock.
Yes.
And heel Rock is the best Rock there is.
Oh, undoubtedly.
When he came out on SmackDown with that shirt,
you knew
before he even said anything. I was marking out. I was bought in. I was like, oh, the shirt.
Oh yeah,
the $500 shirts. Oh, and then when he started calling people trailer park trash,
it was a thing of beauty.
I can't wait for a J-Brone.
I know, right? I wish that he would have said it. It's right there. You could have called them jabronis.
Jabroni.
But I don't know.
I can't wait.
At some point, hopefully he'll say the J word.
Yep. No, it's. I think it'll happen. But yeah, I mean, and good on him. I mean, that is just like he is taking, whether you like the heel Rock character or you don't like the heel Rock character, you're a Cody crybaby and all you care about is Cody finishing the story. You can't deny the fact that The Rock loves this business and puts like he comes in, and I think maybe he came in expecting to be a face in this situation, take on Roman Reigns. Because let's face it, they've been building that story longer. They've been building Cody's story.
Yeah, definitely.
For the last couple of years.
People have been wanting this for a long time.
For the last couple of years, we've been like, when are we getting Rock versus Roman? When are we getting Rock versus Roman? Because the whole idea was that they'd been building Roman for The Rock. That was, I think, the original story. And then, when Cody comes back and he lays out the story, I think that was, truthfully, I think that might have been WWE Creative's plan B, because The Rock's schedule was so busy,
Right.
and it kept getting put off year after year. I think they finally were like, I don't think that The Rock's going to work out, so let's have Cody as a plan B, to finish the story. And that's why Cody doesn't beat The Rock at the last WrestleMania. And, everything that's happened over the last few months, it's completely changed the landscape of the business. It's been a catalyst for moving different, pieces in different places at different times.
Right.
And now you've got The Rock not only, like I said, not only is The Rock back on screen, not only is The Rock back in the ring, The Rock is fully fixated in the veins of the company.
Yeah, so, like you said, it's a great time to be a professional wrestling fan. It's a great time to get into the storylines in WWE right now, because this storyline going into WrestleMania is going to have so many layers, and it's going to be a great thing to watch. I can't wait to see it.
It's super exciting. The fact that you've got a guy who's, he's spent the last, since he left. When did he leave WWE for the first time? It was 2002, 2000.
It was early 2000s. I don't remember exactly when. But yeah.
Since he left, then he's been very much a public figure. So he's not playing the character. He's being Dwayne Johnson.
Exactly.
He uses the Rock moniker because it's what people know, but he's been Dwayne Johnson.
Right.
And even to a certain degree, when he came back and he's the Rock, but he's Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and he's being this, the guy hey, I'm a happy guy. I love this business. This business is my family. But when the time came and the fans reacted the way they did, love it or hate it, he responds to the fans. And WWE writers and people like Triple H and them, and this is the difference between the last regime and now, they react, they take what the fans are saying and they react accordingly.
Yes.
And you got somebody who's built a brand, he's built a character of himself over the last 20 plus years. And without hesitation, he snaps when necessary to a character that he has not played in 25 plus years.
But can still play it to a T.
Without dropping a beat.
Exactly.
On that interview, Cody Crybabies, let's say Trailer Park Trash, The Rock.
Telling people what to do with Chicken McNuggets.
Yep.
Everything.
The Rock can throw it better than anybody. And, at the end of the day, say rising tide raises all ships. This is good for it's what The Rock's doing for the business. It's gonna help. It's gonna build Roman. It's gonna build
Definitely.
Cody. It's gonna build the whole product. And just the idea. You've got Shawn, you've got Triple H, you've got The Rock, you've got potentially Brian Gewirtz. You've got so many people who are fantastic at what they do.
Absolutely.
And love the wrestling business. You cannot help but be excited about where WWE is going right now.
Exactly. And all that's left to do is just wait and see where they go from here and just see what culminates from Elimination Chamber, because then you got to figure out who's going to be facing Seth Rollins for the world title.
Yeah, that's the only part that stinks is that, the CM Punk angle, gets messed up from injury. And, the more I think about it, the more I really do think that CM Punk was supposed to win the Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think that the We Want Cody movement is the situation that happened with him winning the Rumble.
Yeah. Because
then it was a stretch too far.
Yeah.
For them to say the Royal Rumble winner is not going to go to WrestleMania.
Exactly.
Now, for me, I guess I don't respond the same way just because I've seen some Royal Rumble winners not go to WrestleMania or not go to the main event at WrestleMania, because Stone Cold won the Royal Rumble and then faced Bret Hart in I Quit match, or not an I Quit match, but a submission match is what it was called then. But it's at the end of the day, the CM Punk part sucks because they had a really fantastic story that I think they were going to lay out over the next, month and a half before WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
And not to say that anybody who's going to face Seth is not going to do a good job or they're not going to have a good match, but the Drew and Seth storyline was kind of wrapped up already.
Yeah.
And like, Seth and some of these other people, it's like he's taken on a lot of the challengers. Like, so who we're going to see Seth face again, like right now, it looks like it's going to be a repeat of somebody we've already seen or a storyline we've already taken. Now I'll give it to Drew McIntyre. The promo that he gave, when he comes out and says that I didn't want you to get hurt, I prayed for you to get hurt.
Yeah, that was glorious.
I mean, that was a fantastic promo. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think Drew's doing a fantastic job. I mean, Drew versus Seth, I'm not nearly as excited about it as I would be Seth versus Punk.
See, I thought that's the way that they would go, but with Drew not renewing his contract, I don't see that's going to happen.
Do you really believe that at this point? Drew always signs at the last minute.
I don't know. Just something feels different about it this time. I don't know.
You think he's going to go to AEW?
Honestly, I feel like he could.
Why would anybody go to AEW right now?
Well, I mean,
it's a dumpster fire.
That's the reason why I feel like he would go, is to try and help revive or try and help do something with that. Because could you imagine?
Daniel Bryan can't revive it. Adam Copeland, Edge can't revive it. But
could you imagine for the AEW World Title, Samoa Joe and Drew McIntyre?
I mean, that'd be a fantastic match. But guess what? It would be booked to suck.
See, and that's what I'm hoping that.
Well, that's what Tony Khan does really, really well. Is he takes two amazing wrestlers that everybody wants to see, and it's a dream match, and he finds out somehow a way to book it so that it's not really that exciting.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, hopefully their booking gets a lot better in time. But yeah, as of now, I'm not even interested in watching Revolution, only to watch Sting's last match.
At this point, that's the only reason I'm watching Revolution.
Yeah.
I'm in a real moment of truth here. I was relieved when I found out on Wednesday that there wasn't going to be an episode of Collision that I needed to watch to be able to, accurately, do my job here on this podcast.
Same.
Like, I don't want to watch more hours of AEW right now. Like, the product over the last couple months, since All In or All Out, whichever one, sucks.
Yeah, it's
every week. You get Jon Moxley at the beginning of the night wrestling in some match that I don't know why he's wrestling in it.
Yeah, that's pretty much how the product is now. Like, it's a bunch of matches that have no merit to them or no stakes in it whatsoever.
If
there are, it's just like, okay, so where do we go from here?
Yeah, other than the promo work and the vignettes with Tony Storm, there's nothing entertaining. The wrestling matches, obviously the wrestlers are working and doing good work, but stories without storytelling.
Well, see, and even then, like some of the work that's going on right now. The Tony Storm bit is good. It's entertaining. It's funny. But then even with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, that whole thing is just like,
it makes no sense. And then like in the last week or two, what are you seeing from it?
Nothing.
I'm not seeing,
it's funny,
I'm not seeing anything from the Undisputed Kingdom's not doing anything of merit.
No.
They're having matches like Wardlow's continuing to squash unknown local indie wrestlers.
What else is new?
Yeah, let's see. Roderick Strong is going to have a match with Orange Cassidy, and I get that they're building it to Revolution, but there's not anything that's raising the stakes of it. Like I said, Undisputed Kingdom should be taking out people left and right. Undisputed Kingdom should be holding every belt there is right now. Undisputed
Agreed.
Kingdom should literally be, holding the show hostage.
Yes.
And they're not. And so it's just another faction that sounds like it could be really cool, but then after the execution, AEW style, nobody gives a crap. It happened with Inner Circle from the very beginning of AEW. It happened
with the Firm.
It happened with the Firm. Happened with Pinnacle, and now it's happening with Undisputed Kingdom. They can't get factions over when they're delivered over. Like, the faction comes out and it's over already, and so all you got to do there is just keep it going and keep pushing it. They need to take
notes from WWE, because there's so many factions in WWE that, like, honestly, I wish that they would have a 6-man tag title. Because, you've got so many. You've got the Final Testament. You've got Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits.
Mm-hmm.
You got LWO. You got Legado del Fantasma. Like, there's so many.
Yeah.
And they could work off of that. But again,
I mean, yeah, that would be awesome to see, but it doesn't solve AEW's problem.
True.
So I mean, getting to I guess my botch from last week, so not the botch of this current week, but last week, my botch from last week actually does not go to WWE and it does not go to AEW. It goes to the idiots at Anthem who are the financial backers of TNA.
Yes.
Those morons decided to firmly take their heads, stick them sideways, and shred them straight up their candy culos.
Exactly.
And if you're in Spanish, go ahead and I apologize for using Spanish naughty words, but
hey, it's okay. I mean, at this point, yeah, we both feel the same way because that's my botch as well. Scott D'Amore
being fired is the biggest botch. I mean, that's the biggest botch of the year so far.
Like, I just don't get it. Like, you have this individual who has revived this company from being like C+ or C- WWE version.
Dude, they were in the grave. Like, I mean, TNA had gone from being, they went from being just an alternative to WWE to being a viable alternative to WWE to being WWE light to being dumpster fire garbage like AEW is right now.
Right.
And the fans gave up and say when AEW came around, TNA was like, they got nothing. And D'Amore, who's been in and out with the company for years and years and years, but has always been, passionate about the business and passionate about the company TNA itself.
Absolutely.
And is, one of the ones who championed taking it away from being Impact to back to being TNA, back to its roots.
Yeah.
And they have Hard Justice, which is, a tremendous pay-per-view, huge success for the company. They're launching all these things that it's like, oh man, this is great.
They've got so much going for them right now. I mean, with the addition of Nick Nemeth.
Yeah, and the experts at Anthem decided, we don't really want to have a successful professional wrestling company, so we're going to go ahead and let Scott go. We don't want to pay the money that he wants us to pay, one, him to do his job, and then two, the wrestlers to make the product really viable. Because let's face it, if those morons didn't fire Scott D'Amore, you'd probably see a lot of guys ending their AEW careers going over to TNA, and AEW
easily
would become the third promotion, and TNA could have gone up to the second promotion. But they managed to fully fist fudge themselves by firing Scott D'Amore. And if Tony Khan has any hope or any brains in his head, he will hire Scott D'Amore immediately and let Scott take over the booking and just do what other company owners do, oversee, but step aside.
Exactly. But yeah, that's my botch as well. I mean, I guess you could say the high spot for me. I mean, this week was pretty good in wrestling, but yeah, the high spot for me was the Bloodline segment with Heel Rock. Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely Scott D'Amore being fired. I don't want to say it put the nail in the coffin for TNA because, I mean, you still have Tommy Dreamer, but at the same time, Scott D'Amore was the key player in TNA being brought back to life in their creative process, in their booking and everything. But, hopefully with TNA being brought back out of being Impact Wrestling into TNA and with Nick Nemeth making his debut and with a lot of things going on for him right now, hopefully it won't be a huge shot in the foot, but only time will tell, and we'll just have to see what comes.
Yeah, it's not going to be something that immediately is seen, on the next, the next episode or the next pay-per-view. Actions like this take a while to bleed down.
Right.
So I mean, obviously, they've got stuff in place. They've got storylines. They've got programs that they probably have written 3 and 6 months out already. So it's not like they're just going to immediately start sucking tomorrow because he's gone yesterday. But at the end of the day, that kind of a leader in the back room is essential for not only the pushing of the product in front of the camera, but the culture of the business behind the camera.
Yeah, definitely.
And take AEW for example. Their culture behind closed doors, behind the camera,
it's not very good.
You don't hear good things, and you start hearing stuff in the dirt sheets now about how Adam Edge Copeland is rubbing other talents the wrong way in the locker room at TNA, and it's like, dude, I can understand you guys not getting along with CM Punk, but not getting
Edge,
along with Edge, like
that's got to be something on y'all's end, because I mean, Edge is an all around great guy. I mean, I don't know what he's like in real life because I've never met him before, but I mean, from everything that I've seen, from what other people say,
I mean, Matt Hardy still gets along with him, and he, Edge banged his girlfriend.
Exactly.
Like, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know who Edge is truthfully, but I see the person that you see on interviews, the person that you see on podcasts, the person that you see, that he shows, he seems like a good guy, loving husband, loving father, loves the professional wrestling business.
So it's got to be something going on aside from Edge, and it's got to be something going on with, I don't want to point fingers or anything, but a couple of individuals that claim to be the brains of the operation, but...
Well, and I think, this something happened recently that speaks volumes. I guess they had the 200th episode of Dynamite, and there was a big thank you, Tony Khan, who produces the show.
Tony Khan.
So he's literally thanking himself in front of the crowd and has all the wrestlers standing on the entrance ramp to give him a round of applause. Dude, if you need to rub one out that bad, go to the bathroom. Don't have an entire roster of people do it for you. Like, that's some serious, yeah, I think you have a problem, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
No, so he needs to get out.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
he needs to run the company from far away. He needs someone like a Scott D'Amore to come in and book and run the day to day. And they've got good creative, they've got good agents. Like they have, there's
you've
so
got
many,
everything at your fingertips, but yet somehow you manage to blow it profusely. And ruin it for everybody.
I mean, I guess, if you think about it, make it the, comparison to cooking. You can have all the ingredients, but if you don't know how to put them together right, it's going to taste like crap. And
exactly.
Pretty much that's what AEW is. It's crap.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy.
I mean, you got the recipe right in front of you.
A couple months ago, I was excited about where it was going, and I thought, okay, they're growing, they're catching steam, and then they just took a huge nosedive. And I know not having MJF on the show right now is hard for them because they don't know how to be creative without MJF doing his own thing.
But even then,
that's a problem.
MJF was their only storyline that they had going for them, and now that he's not with them, or quote unquote with them anymore, I mean, now they don't know what to do because, I mean, no one's really invested in Samoa Joe as their champion. Not saying he's not a viable individual, because Samoa Joe as a champion is like a gold mine.
Well, Samoa Joe as the champion at AEW is like Hulk being the champion in WCW in '94. He could have a career revival like Hulk did when he became Hollywood, but Joe is kind of a completely different character. Hollywood Hogan was a big flip character because Hulk and Hulkamania was the perennial face character, and so then he finally goes heel for the first time. That's something that you really can't see Joe do because Joe's never been a perennial face character. He's never been a face or a heel really. He's always been kind of one of those in between characters that
kind of like an anti-hero.
Yeah, it's like an anti-hero. Like he does what's best for him when it's best for him to do it. So don't take that for what you will. Kind of a Steve Austin type character. But Joe, he's a little older in the years. He's had the prime of his career. So when you see the title on him, it's like, yeah, we love Joe. He's a great wrestler. We have great memories of him, but we don't see him being the pioneer for this company moving forward.
Right.
And like I said, that's like when Hulk won the title in '94 for WCW. That didn't turn the page for WCW. They paid a lot of money to bring him in, put the title on him, but until something with a compelling storyline and a change of character, a change of pace, something that the fans didn't see as predictable and just routine. The NWO put the shot in the veins of the WCW. I don't know what that's going to be for AEW, but I can tell you that I think they've tried to do a lot of NWO. I think they've tried to do a lot of storytelling, and they don't seem to get it. They don't get what gets characters over. And I don't think there's a single wrestler, there have, short of Orange Cassidy and
I don't even know anybody past Orange Cassidy.
Short of Orange Cassidy, I don't know anybody that AEW has gotten over in the last 2 years. I mean, everybody else they brought in
I guess you could say Darby Allin, but I mean, other than that, yeah, Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin.
Darby Allin's over, but is he any more over today than he was last year?
Honestly, no. I would say no.
I mean, and MJF, you know, like when MJF joined AEW, you know, back in 2019, like, yeah, he's been getting progressively more and more over. Like, he's one character, but like I say, I make the contest that AEW has nothing to do with MJF getting over. That's all MJF.
Absolutely.
But let's say the rest of the wrestlers, I don't see any wrestlers that, you know, that are being led by the company that are more over today than they were before they came to AEW.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
most every guy that came from WWE, they're less over now than they were.
Yeah,
and you're going to bank on Sasha Banks coming in and being, you know, shooting, you know, some excitement into. It's not going to happen.
No. If Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné is smart, she will not sign with AEW.
I think she already has. I think it's a done deal. I think, you know, what is it? She's you know, they haven't said it, but they've definitely been very heavy-handed with their allusions to her debut in Boston.
I mean, we'll just have to see what comes of it, but either way,
to me it's a non-factor because I say she's going to debut and it's going to be a silent fart. All right?
Yeah, there's going to be hardly any to no pop whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be a pop.
Well, yeah, there'll be a pop, but at the same time, fans will just kind of be like, okay, we knew this was going to happen, but...
Yeah, there's going to be a conditioned pop, you know?
Yeah.
Like the fans will pop because she's new to the company.
Right.
And because they haven't seen her in the American wrestling media. They haven't seen her in a while.
Right.
So, you know, it's like absence makes the heart grow fonder. But with Sasha or Mercedes... once she starts doing her thing or her lack of a thing again, people are going to remember why they're still watching WWE with Rhea and Charlotte and Becky and Bayley and, you know, Liv and everybody else who's better than Mercedes.
Absolutely. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been our recap of everything that's happened the last couple weeks or so. It's a lot that we've had to talk about, but we hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts on everything going on in professional wrestling. Let us know in the comments on social media. Follow us on social media. Like I said, we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we're on YouTube as well. We got upcoming events already in plan, and hopefully will be some more as well. But if you ever want to check us out in person, go and check out everything on our social media. We'll be at more events coming soon. But like we always like to say, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. And as always, keep it 5 stars.